Assalamualaikum and good day. Hi there, I'm Diana. Welcome to WE013 Writing. This is our objective for today. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to use appropriate words or expressions or register for the intended purpose and audience. As matriculation students, you'll be generally involved with academic writing. Now, there are two elements that you have to remember when you write academically. One is the purpose, and secondly is the audience. Now, the purpose, normally you write for examination or for your assessment or assignment, while the audience that you're going to write for generally involve the lecturers or the examiners. Generally, when we talk about academic writing, it has to be formal. However, for the purpose of this lesson, I believe that you need to know the difference between formal, semi-formal, and informal. Because based on my experience, some of you tend to write informally, informal writing. The level of formality you write with should be determined by the expectations of your audience and your purpose. For example, as a lecturer, I expect you to write formally because the writing is going to be assessed. It is going to be evaluated based on assessment criteria. And therefore, when you write, you have to make sure that it is informal writing. For example, if you are writing a cover letter for a job application or a college academic essay, you would write in a formal style. If you are writing a letter to a friend, or writing something personal, or even writing something for a humorous or special interest magazine, when informal writing is expected, you would use a more informal style. And sometimes you have in between where you get the semi-formal. I'm going to show that later in the examples. What I'm showing you now is the academic writing and the examples of formality level. Let's look at the first one, which is formal, and normally you write this to a lecturer or to an examiner. The ability to write a well-organized and insightful essay is crucial in WE013 English 1 course. Most classes require at least one written assignment, and lecturers expect a high level of writing skill. A good essay generally has a thesis statement, convincing body paragraphs, and a strong conclusion. As you can see, in formal writing, we don't have the word or the pronouns such as I, we, or our, like in the semi-formal example. Now let's look at semi-formal, where you write to a friend. I am aware that essay writing is crucial in WE013 English 1 course. We have to write at least one assignment, and our lecturers want us to have a high level of writing skills. Our essay should have a thesis statement, body paragraph, and a conclusion. For the semi-formal, normally people like to use contractions such as we have, or the full form is we have to write at least one assignment. Now let's look at the informal one, which is incorrect because the tone of the writing is a bit informal. I know I have to write a good essay in English course. Well, most classes want me to write at least one assignment, and lecturers like good writing. So the essay must have a thesis statement, paragraphs, and a conclusion. So you can see that in informal writing, normally we use I, and also we have contractions such as I've to write a good essay. And when you write informally, you write numbers rather than the word itself. For example, the word one assignment. The number 1 should be spelled as 1, O-N-E. Whenever we talk about academic writing, we always refer to concision or conciseness. The goal of concise writing is to use the most effective words, meaning that the words that you use in your writing have to be exactly what it means. Now, concise writing does not always have the fewest words, but it always uses the strongest ones. Writers often fill sentences with weak or unnecessary words that can be deleted or replaced. Words and phrases should be deliberately chosen for the work they are doing. Like bad employees, words that do not accomplish enough should be fired. Okay, this is way too much, but I believe you get the point. When only the most effective words remain, writing will be far more concise and readable. What I'm trying to say here is, in academic writing, the words that you choose must reflect what your ideas are or what you're trying to express to the reader. Now I'm going to show you 3 strategies that you can use to achieve concision or conciseness. The first strategy that you can use is to replace several vague words with more powerful and specific words. Now, for example, more specific words lead to more concise writing. And therefore, before you write or before you put on words onto paper, you must think carefully whether these words are the words that you want to use. And in order for you to do this, you can brainstorm or search a thesaurus which can lead to the word best suited for a specific instance. For example, if you're using Microsoft Words, there is a button or there is a function where you can search for words in a thesaurus. Now let's look at the examples. These examples convey more as they drop in word count. Let's look at the first example, the wordy one. Susie believed but could not confirm that Billy had feelings of affection for her. This sentence has 14 words. Now let's look at the concise version. Susie assumed that Billy adored her. Now reduce this to 6 words. If you look at the wordy statement, it says Susie believed but could not confirm. Isn't that lengthy? And therefore, we choose the word assume to express that lengthy phrase. Then Billy adored her. This is the concise version of Billy had feelings of affection for her. Now if you make comparison between the wordy and the concise version, I believe that you will think that concise version is clearer and it is straight to the point. Now let's look at the second example. Our website has made available many of the things you can use for making a decision on the best dentist. Now sometimes when you read this, you do not know what is the writer trying to convey, and therefore sometimes it can be lost in translation. Now let's look at the concise version of it. Our website presents criteria for determining the best dentist. Now isn't that clearer? That is the point of this lesson. Whenever you write academic writing, it has to be concise. The meaning has to be clear. The second strategy involves interrogate every word in a sentence. Here it means that check every word to make sure that it is providing something important and unique to a sentence. If words are dead weight, they can be deleted or replaced. I'm going to show this in the examples after this. Let's look at these examples. The first wordy sentence, the teacher demonstrated some of the various ways and methods for cutting words from my essay that I had written for class. Now this sentence has 22 words. The concise version has 10 words only. The teacher demonstrated methods for cutting words from my essay, because that is the purpose of the writer. The purpose of the writer is to tell the reader that the teacher demonstrated methods for cutting words from my essay. So when you write something, you need to keep on reminding yourself, what is the purpose of me writing this sentence, or what is the purpose of me writing this essay? And you have to interrogate every word in a sentence. You have to think whether is this word beneficial for that sentence, or is this word expressing what I really want to convey. Now let's look at the second example. Eric Clapton and Steve Winwood formed a new band of musicians together in 1969, giving it the iconic name of Blind Faith, because early speculation that was spreading everywhere about the band suggested that the new musical group would be good enough to rival the earlier bands that both men had been in, Cream and Traffic, which people had really liked and had been very popular. Now this is a very lengthy sentence. Like I said earlier, if your sentence is lengthy, sometimes the focus is not there. So you have to think back, what is the purpose of me writing this sentence? And who is my audience? Are my audience going to understand what I'm trying to say? Now the concise version would be, Eric Clapton and Steve Winwood formed a new band in 1969, ironically naming it Blind Faith, because speculation suggested that the group would rival the musicians' previous popular bands Cream and Traffic. So as you can see, the concise version is easier for you to understand at first reading. It is understandable that when it comes to academic writing, students like to write more, and therefore when they like to write more, they write more sentences. However, you must remember that each sentence must have its purpose. Now, another strategy that you can use to be concise is by combining sentences. This is the third strategy. Some information does not require a full sentence and can easily be inserted into another sentence without losing any of its value. Let's look at these examples. Ludwig's castles are an astounding marriage of beauty and madness. By his death, he had commissioned 3 castles. Now that's 18 words. Let's look at the concise version. Ludwig's 3 castles are an astounding marriage of beauty and madness. Simple, clear, and straight to the point. So you can combine 2 sentences into one, so that you don't have unnecessary words or dead weight, as mentioned earlier. The next wordy statement or statements are: the supposed crash of a UFO in Roswell, New Mexico, aroused interest in extraterrestrial life. This crash is rumored to have occurred in 1947. So because of the word the crash is rumored to have occurred, then you can just use the word the supposed 1947 crash of a UFO in Roswell, New Mexico aroused interest in extraterrestrial life. So from 24 words, you cut it down to 16 words. You can use this also for summary writing as well, because in summary you have to be very precise of what you want to say. However, when it comes to academic writing, I would like to reiterate or emphasize that each word that you use in your writing has to be specific to your audience and also to its purpose. Now let's recap on concision. We have 3 strategies. The first one is to replace several vague words with more powerful and specific words. Secondly, interrogate every word in a sentence. And thirdly, combine sentences. I hope by now you remember all these strategies, and then you will apply it in writing your essay, especially for MUET writing exam, which is going to be soon. Now this is a practice. There are 2 actually. The first one is you can test yourself on what you have just learned on this URL address. I will put it in the description at the bottom of this video, and another practice will be given by your lecturer through a Google form. So I hope by now you know how to write an academic essay or extended essay, and how you can be concise in writing it while taking into account the purpose and also the audience. Well, that's all for today. Thank you and stay safe.